Saludos familia, Sabra Jesús, su presidente de plataforma Todo sobre Lucha Libre. Hoy tenemos al luchador Logan Chase. Hello Logan, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very, very fine. Well, so the people can know you better. Where are you from?
So I am from Denver, Colorado.
Okay, so tell us, in short story, why did you become a wrestler?
So I became a wrestler because I watched it as a kid growing up. I grew up watching the greats like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, especially when the WWF or WWE was really, really big and it was larger than life. And as a kid, it always kind of appealed to me. And when I got the chance to kind of do some training and get into it myself, it was something that I just kind of jumped into full hearted because it's one of those things where you can realize a dream as a kid. You always want to have that opportunity.
Okay, how many years so far have you been a wrestler?
So I started my training in 2021. We did about a year and a half of training before I did my first match. My first match was in January of last year, so it's been about a year and almost a year and a half now.
Who teach you wrestling?
So I learned from a couple of the legends out here in Colorado, the great Duff Doyle. He's a very big independent wrestler here in Colorado. And I also learned a lot from the tag team duo of the Canadian Pitbulls. They did a lot for my tag team partner and I to help us get to where we are on the tag team scene and be as successful as we are. So big thanks to those guys. They were really helpful in getting us to where we are at the level we are, and then also helping us get into the business, understand the business, and kind of be able to go out here and navigate it on our own.
Okay, let's go to the first day that you hear your name, your music. You get out, you see the ring, you see the people. How do you feel that first time?
Nervous, very nervous. I played some sports in high school, so I was kind of used to having that a little bit of that performance anxiety, but it was something completely different when, it's just you going out there to perform in front of the crowd. But man, once that music hits and you pull that curtain back and you walk in front of the crowd, you kind of forget all that nervousness and you jump right into that role that you're ready to play and you're ready to get in the ring and you're ready to show everybody what you can do.
Heel or a face?
Which do I prefer?
Yeah.
I always love having the fans cheer me. I think that's a lot of fun. I went to school for politics, so I always love the whole idea of like a politician has to go out and shake hands and kiss babies. And that's a lot of the same things for a face when you're wrestling too. You got to be able to go out there and engage with the crowd, shake hands, kiss babies, make people happy and get the fans behind you. And that's something that I really do enjoy, just meeting new people, new fans, hearing how they came to love wrestling and what they love about wrestling. It's just so much fun. But there's always something fun too about getting people to boo you.
Okay. How do you feel when the children came to you asking for autograph, photos, saying, "Hey, I want to be just like you when I grow up"?
It's still kind of surreal, honestly. That I remember going up to the wrestlers when I was a kid and asking for autographs. So now it's very surreal to have kids come up to you after shows and say, "Hey, I want to be a wrestler too. Can I get you to sign this picture?" and stuff like that. So it's a very surreal feeling, but it's something that I cherish and I love, and it's something that you definitely wouldn't trade for anything. It's a special feeling.
Are you an independent wrestler or do you belong to any wrestling company so far?
We're independent wrestlers right now, so we work with a variety of different companies. We wrestle in Kansas, Colorado, and spoke with my sister Nikki Chase, and she's done Mexico and she's done Texas, so she's pretty much all over the place.
Have you ever been a tag team with your sister?
No, but I've been in a tag team against my sister. Mostly my sister helps manage our tag team, but we did get an opportunity to work against each other at a special trio show in Colorado Springs for the Colorado Wrestling Connection. And it was myself, Major Glory, and our tag team partner, Frenchie. And we got to face my sister, Nikki, and two other female wrestlers. And it was actually a really fun match. It's one of my favorite matches, too, because it was folks that we all trained with and, grew up getting into this business together, and just for all of us to get to work together and go out there and showcase what we knew and how good we were was so much fun, and it's one of the best memories I have so far in wrestling.
Logan, I want to ask you something. Do you have multiple personalities? Because on these days, I see you laugh because I saw a video of a couple of personalities that you have that you were fighting against them. What's the deal with that?
Well, I like to consider myself the good old boy. You can see behind me, I got my Dale Earnhardt flag up there. I do love NASCAR and I love pro wrestling, and it's a little bit of part of my personality. But there's also a little bit of part of me that likes to strive for the spotlight, and that part of my personality, not really sure who it wants to be. Sometimes it wants to be a lifeguard. Sometimes it wants to be a nerd. Sometimes it wants to be the jock that's just out there to prove everybody wrong. And I always kind of have to fight back those inclinations and those little parts of my personality that want to come out and take over. And I got to keep the good old boy out on top because that's the guy that I know is the best one for me, who's going to make me the best person and the best wrestler. And maybe those other personalities, they're not always there to try to help me be the best person that I am. So it's always a struggle to have the best part of you come out on top.
Okay. If you can wrestle somebody, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you just want to say to yourself, okay, I have this great opportunity to wrestle this guy. Who would it be and why?
Oh wow, that's a great question. So I would say that if I could pick like anybody, um, there's so many great wrestlers, especially now with the wrestling boom that we have going on. I would say, some of the bigger ones, maybe like MJF, who's just an incredible in-ring personality and so incredible in the ring as well. But then you also have really talented folks like Will Ospreay and some of the folks like that. But I think the one person that I would pinpoint and say if I worked with that person, even if it was just me going out there and getting squashed by him, which is probably what it would be awesome. That'd probably be CM Punk. And a lot of it is because CM Punk kind of brought me back into pro wrestling after I had taken a hiatus. I kind of fell out of love with wrestling for a little bit, and I got a chance to catch CM Punk back in 2014 when he had his big resurgence in the WWE, and I just kind of fell in love with his in-ring work, his mic work, his storytelling. So I think it would be awesome not only to get beat by CM Punk, but just to be in the ring and learn from them as well. Because that's the other thing is anytime you go into the ring, especially with a vet like that, you always learn something, and that's always a valuable lesson.
Okay. Right now, have you ever win any title so far?
Yeah, so we are currently the Colorado Springs Wrestling Tag Team Champions and the World Wrestling Express Tag Team Champions. My partner Major Glory and I. In addition to that, Major Glory at the last WWX show won the World Heavyweight title in a ladder match. So we've had a lot of success. Right now, WWX is kind of our home base. World Wrestling Express in Larned, Kansas. We're the United States Tag Team Champions there, so we love to show up and put on the best matches we can against some of the best tag teams in the area. But now my partner has that heavyweight belt too, so we have a lot of repping over there to do to show just what we know and what we can do, and to keep the folks coming back to watch every show.
Do you like hardcore matches?
I do like hardcore matches.
Okay, but have you been in a very incredible hardcore match?
So the last match we had at Kansas was a ladder match, and unfortunately, I was beat with a chair, hit with a ladder, and also with a pool noodle, which was actually the easiest of the three, but still hurt a little bit. So we've done a little bit of hardcore wrestling, not anything like you'd see on ECW or like back in the day, but still taking some bumps and bruises. But it can be fun too. So
So does that mean that you would love to go to Japan and wrestle there?
oh, I would love to go to Japan and wrestle just because of the history that Japan has with wrestling. That would be incredible.
How about Mexico?
Again, the history with Mexico, CMLL, everything like that would be incredible to go down there and wrestle. It's one of those things where you have different kinds of wrestling all throughout the world. And if you get an opportunity, whether it's to go to Japan, to Mexico, even over to the UK and Europe, you will learn something in a different kind of style of wrestling, and you'll be able to take something from that. And I've always been so fascinated with Mexican lucha libre wrestling and some of the high flying aerial moves that they can do and how incredible it is and how athletic they all are. So to like come down to Mexico and wrestle some of those folks and learn some of that stuff would be amazing.
If somebody told you to do a personality like a redneck, like Dick Murdoch or something like that. Would you love to do that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would say a little bit of my there's a little bit of me that's a little bit of a redneck kind of. I did grow up in Northwest Ohio in a town that was kind of known for being a country club town. But myself being a NASCAR guy, I was always kind of known as the redneck guy in my grade because I always did. I love NASCAR. I love just kind of going outside and getting dirty if I wanted to on a weekend, and never much for picking up the golf clubs. Although I did try, but I also dug way more holes than I actually hit golf balls when I tried that. So I found out that wasn't for me.
Okay. I hope someday we can see you in Puerto Rico, my Iceland, because wrestling here is very hard too.
Yeah, I would love that. Puerto Rico also has an incredible history with pro wrestling too. So being down there, just meeting some of the folks and learning the history and meeting the fans, and because they have some rabid fans down there too, which is makes it all the more fun too. When the fans are that into it, it makes it way more fun.
Mhm. Logan, I see in you a person who is very humble, and I like that because, like I always say, you have to be humble in this world because when you are on the top, you have to remember who give you that first chance wrestling, that first chance in interview, because sometimes people wins title and they are like, "Oh, I'm better than you." It's better to be humble because that's the way you're gonna get more and more talent and more opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the one thing too is like you got to remember, you know, I'm not Roman Reigns. I'm not the head of the table, So there's always more things for me to learn. I can always get better. I'm very big about my own personal fitness. I'm in the weight room 4 to 5 days a week. And that's one thing that's kind of helped me with fitness is you always realize that there's always room for improvement, right? You're never in your peak physical health. You can always get a little bit better. You can always push a little bit more weight. You can always run a little bit further. And that same sort of mentality kind of goes into wrestling too. You can always work harder in the ring. You can always go get more ring time and work on your chain wrestling, on your moves, on anything like that. There's always ways to improve and get better. So you never want to put yourself up on a pedestal because at that point you kind of stop learning and you stop growing not only as a wrestler but as a person. So staying humble, always digging, always trying to get better. That's what matters, and that's what keeps you growing as a person, as a wrestler, and just as a person in whole.
Okay. If someday you have a kid and that kid tell you, Dad, I want to become a wrestler, what would you say?
Well, he's got to finish school first. That's the most important thing. So, absolutely, if that's something that he wants to pursue, you should always sit behind your parent or behind you. As a parent, you should always be behind your parents' goal or your kids' goals. I was lucky enough to have very supportive parents. I played high school football. They were very supportive of me, even in the times when I thought that I didn't want to play anymore, which was more or less just kind of me going through some difficult times and needing some motivation. They were always behind me to motivate me and tell me, hey, this is something that you want to do. You've always wanted to do it. And being able to, if I had a kid, being able to stay behind them and push them and say, hey, if you want to be a pro wrestler, that's great, but we're going to make sure we do this the right way. We learn to do it safe. And most importantly, that you finish school first. And then if you want to pursue it full time, that's on you.
If a big wrestling company wants to hire you, but say, hey, I want you, but I want you to use a mask, what would you say?
I'd be okay with that, right? There's history behind masks, right? So
Hmm?
plus you get to pick something that's cool and matches your personality. So I'd be 100% okay with that. Because yeah, the history behind wearing the mask and what it means in lucha wrestling, I'd be okay with it. I'd also find something that was really cool, fit my personality, and then hey, you never know, maybe some new personality would spring from that.
Hmm. So if somebody want to contact you to write you something to tell you that I want your services, something using the social media, how can they reach for you?
So they can reach me on my Facebook. I'm under Logan Chase. They can also find me on Instagram at logan.chase.pw for pro wrestler. And then in addition to that, you can reach out to me on my Gmail. That's chase.logan.follett@gmail.com. I'm available at all three of those venues. I try to get back to people as fast as I can. So that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay, right now, when are you going to be wrestling? Where, when, what time?
So our next show is actually this Saturday, August 3rd. We'll be in Larned, Kansas for In a Major Way. The doors are at 6. The show is at 7. So it's going to be a fun night. If you're in Larned, Kansas that night, hope people turn out. It's going to be a good show. Major Glory. It'll be his first time there as the heavyweight champion, so it's going to be a fun night to watch him wrestle with the big gold belt on. I'm really excited for it, and we always put some of the best wrestling in Kansas on stage, so it'll be exciting.
Any message for all your fans around the world?
Just thanks for the support. Keep supporting not only me but all the independent pro wrestlers, because you guys are what makes us thrive, right? Without the fans, without the support from the people that come out to these shows, we wouldn't be doing this. So not only to my fans but all the fans that love just local independent pro wrestling, thank you. Please keep coming to the shows, keep supporting us. We love you guys. You are what makes pro wrestling, because without the fans, you wouldn't have the lively atmosphere and just the drama that you need to make pro wrestling what it is. So thank you to the fans, thank you to the support, and just we hope to keep seeing you at the shows.
Bueno, mi gente, nosotros nos pueden ver en YouTube, nuestro canal de YouTube, Facebook tenemos la página del grupo, e Instagram tenemos ya 2 páginas. Thank you, Logan, for your time. Soon we will contact you again for another interview. I hope you like this one.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, I'm gonna try to find Major Glory so I can interview him too. So have a nice day and thank you, and a big hug from here from Puerto Rico. Hope somebody here in Puerto Rico see this interview and say, hey, I want this guy here in Puerto Rico with my company.
Yes, thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.